What you're about to listen to is a Bry-Fy production.
Yo, it's Bry-Fy coming live through your Wi-Fi. One-man show, but I'm feeling like a sci-fi. Comic books, video games, catching them all. Pokemon cards stacked, yeah, I'm ready to brawl. From Marvel to DC, I break it all down. Nifty nerd news, got the geeky rundown. Pop culture hits, movies and shows. I stay in the know while the fandom grows. So plug in, tune up, press play, let's ride. This is the Bry-Fy, baby, welcome to the vibe.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bry-Fy podcast. I'm your host, Bry-Fy, your comics guy, and it's late at night. I'm a little bit tired, but I just finished editing a treat for you guys. I had a friend of the show that I met at Comic Palooza, Joel, come on. He's from Moth Studios, which has a podcast, but more importantly, they have a card game that they were showcasing at Comic Palooza. They hosted tournaments. They were helping people learn the game, teaching strategies and things like that, and just all around being like awesome. At Comic Palooza, I got to meet them briefly in passing, but we did exchange contact information, and we said, "Yo, gotta connect, man." Their social media manager was a delight. She came to one of our podcasts. Like, we talk about this in the interview and stuff, so I won't, don't even need to talk more about it, man. We talk about this stuff in the interview and the podcast that you're just about to hear. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey, man, I just thought about it. I was like, man, I'm sitting here waiting. Oh, crap, I forgot to send the invite.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, I see. You wanted me to join you in your server. I get it. I just tried calling you.
Oh, okay. I
Uh,
actually didn't get a call.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Well, good to know. Anyways, I'll get some camera going on here.
Oh,
How are you
man.
doing, Brian?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Joel?
I'm doing just fine. Just got back from a bicycle ride, so I mean, you could probably tell that I just came back from a bicycle ride.
You're glistening, man. It's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Just wanted to get that extra. They hose down the streets at night when they're shooting movies to get the lights to reflect on the streets to make it more interesting. That's sort of like what I did right here.
That
I
just
went
to
and
your
hosed
body.
myself down to make the lights look better.
Well, you definitely look
Uh,
interesting.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take it. So I don't know if you remember us meeting at Comic Palooza,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I totally
that's where
remember
I first got
meeting.
your card. Nice. Yeah. And I remember I wasn't able to make it down, but our social media person, Annie, actually went down and saw your podcast and she reported back that it was a really good time. Were you
Oh,
the one who was doing the trash or treasure
yes,
signs?
that was me. And so, man, I couldn't remember her
God, I
name
wish
to
I was
save
there.
my life, dude. I was like,
Hmm.
dude, I think it was like Sarah, or like I was going through all these names in my head. Annie, right?
Annie, yes.
Okay, yeah. And man, she was great, dude. And yeah, we
Hmm.
had so much fun. I saw the photos you guys put on your social media of like my wife and I. And dude, they look fantastic. I was like, oh my God, can I hire her? No.
Yeah. Well, she comes in from Oklahoma, so or
Oh,
yeah, so I mean, we would love for you to be able to hire her, but it's might be the expense of travel might be a little much.
I know. That's crazy, man. I didn't
But
know she was from out of state.
yeah, yeah, her and her husband have been longtime friends and collaborators with myself and my business partner who made the game. And so when we started doing the game, they helped out. They help out any way they can. Her husband helped us edit our podcast that is on kind of a indefinite hiatus, and and they both help with social media when they can, whether it be taking pictures or whatnot. If you look at the website, any pictures of humans on our website is going to be probably taken by them as a team. In
Oh,
fact, I'll just
nice.
drop the link. Just X speakers of or I think my hands would have the muscle memory. If you just go to that site,
Yeah, yeah.
you can see more about us. But yeah, I just remember crossing paths with you and Danny and I. Danny's the other half of Megamoth Studios, and we created the game X Seekers of Fortune together, which you might have some exposure with. And then we are about to release the first edition of the game. It's being manufactured basically as we speak.
Oh,
So
nice, nice.
we were looking to potentially do the podcast rounds or try to get featured on any shows. We already have experience hosting podcasts, but right now we don't have the time to do our own show, and we also think it might to give the most, to get the biggest audience or to get into the most new feeds, new faces. It would be good for us to go on, other people's shows. Anybody who's interested in talking about games, game design, or the game is very influenced by like Indiana Jones and other like tomb raiding adventure style things. The Mummy from the '90s is a big influence visually on the game. So yeah, we were just hoping to meet, to kind of start going on rounds and being available for anybody and everybody. And you seem so energetic and so interested. And and especially once I heard about your trash or treasure uh little you know do you mind the word gimmick?
I
Audience
mean,
participation. That's audience participation is probably what I should say.
I mean, gimmick kind of works. I mean, it falls under that line, and I don't think gimmicks have to
Mhm.
be a bad thing.
No, I don't think so either.
Like that. I mean, it was what draws the crowds, and we
Mhm.
had so much fun with it. We did this a year ago at Comic Palooza with what did we call it? Fictional fathers. We started off with the dads, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from doing it my first time because the first time we did it, we had like 40 or more pop culture fathers, and trying to
Mhm.
blast through all that in a 40-minute time, it's almost impossible. And so,
Yeah, that seems like you could have probably pared back a little.
oh yeah, no.
Did
And
you? And did you?
so when we came
How many
back
moms
with,
did you do?
with Mythical Mothers, which was this year, we only did 25, or maybe it was 23. It was 23 or 25. I can't remember exactly. The video's up on YouTube. If anyone wants to, if you feel like you missed out, you can check it out on YouTube. And
Okay, good.
that gave us, with the 23 to 25, you can spend about a minute per character,
Hmm.
and really get to work with the crowd. And I think this time around I added a PowerPoint which allowed me to kind of give clues, like a hint of like, here's a good thing that this
Hmm.
mother did and here's a bad thing. Who do we think this
Yeah.
is based on these two clues? Which no one got a prize, but it was, it's crowd participation. People like to enjoy being a part
Hmm.
of something, and I love having people be a part of something. One, I get to talk less, which saves my voice, helps save my energy, and two, it's just,
Hmm.
it builds community. I think when people are allowed to interact, because especially with podcasts, you get to hear, for some people, you're hearing your best friends talk on the other end of a microphone, and you don't always get to be a part of that conversation, right? Like, you get to listen to it,
Yeah.
but now being here at the convention at Comic Palooza, getting to actually be a part of it, I think people enjoy that. I enjoy it. I enjoy getting to interact with new people and some longtime friends of mine who come out and support me. And so I'm excited. The hardest thing that I have to do now is figure out what I want to talk about next year.
Well, you already have done fathers and mothers or husbands and wives. I mean, what about sons next?
It's
I don't I the term hellion is coming to mind as like the negative side. I'm trying to think of what your good boy would be.
right. I need a good boy, but and we
Yeah.
thought about maybe just lumping, not lumping, but putting children together, boys and
Hmm.
girls together. But then I kind of was talking with my
Well, then
wife.
what do you do the year after that?
Right, like, and I was talking to my wife though, like that's what people are going to expect though. Like, we've done moms, we've
Hmm.
done dads. They're going to be expecting the children. Hey, you know what? Let's start brainstorming and start looking at different
Hmm.
things. Now that we've kind of got our feet wet and gotten the audience kind of used to like how this works now we can start looking at more niche things, because like my wife and I were both big anime fans. I'm big into like video
Hmm.
games, so you could get a little more niche, but I think there's still, at Comic Palooza or any convention for that matter, there's people that are going to know the the
Well,
characters,
if I
right?
understand, Yeah, if I understand part of the fun, okay, like, I think you found like the perfect formula for audience participation, which is giving them a binary choice, essentially, and something they can visually represent, because then you can look out and, even better than round of applause, which can be kind of confusing depending on where you're sitting. Uh, so part of me is like, you should keep that going. I would suggest, uh, fictional captains, and whether you would, follow orders, or, follow them to death or mutiny.
Right. And so see that's kind of what I've been looking
Yeah,
so like especially
yeah,
like the anime there's tons of like leaders and like of like teams and
uh-huh,
things. And so I think that's
yeah.
where me and my wife are leaning towards, but we'll see,
I
man.
think,
It's just so much
I
fun.
mean, it is. It is. One thing I would say though is, like, you look out at that sea of people, and it is a wide variety of types of fans, and there's a lot of anime fans. So you could stack that list with anime characters, but you're still going to want to toss in a couple Western, like, whether it be Western animation or live action type stuff. Like, if you were doing captains, like I mentioned earlier, you definitely want to do, you definitely want Luffy on there, but you would be amiss to not either put Kirk or Picard on there as well.
Oh yeah, no. And those are
Yeah.
great suggestions. And then of course like it's always fun when you can find characters from the same fandom. And then now you're having people fight between like who's better, Picard or
Yeah.
and like that's always half
Yes.
the fun of it is watching them turn on each other.
It's like, I'd follow Picard, but if I was captain, I'd be Kirk. So,
Right. It's so funny, man. But
yeah.
enough about my stuff, dude. So like
Yeah.
you guys were well, this was like the premiere thing for Seekers of Fortune, right? At Comic Palooza? Or
Yeah. Here, let me, here, give me 1 second. I'm going to step away because I'm going to grab the box.
yeah, no, man, go ahead, grab the box.
My cat is being so lazy today. I took the sheets off my bed to wash them, and now he's sleeping on my bed, so I can't put him back. Oh, okay. So yeah, yeah. X Seekers of Fortune. So Danny and I, have been working on this since late 2022. We started on it, and 2023 we had a prototype that we were ready to show off at Comic Palooza. It looked nothing like this, and I don't know. Video is a component of your podcast or not?
Not really, so but
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, if it was, I could show off. I would have the ability to show off the prototype. But basically, Compalooza has been very important to us because, in 2023, it was sort of lit a candle under our ass. You know how it goes. Sometimes you need a deadline. Then it became like, oh, we're sort of like, kicking this thing around. We have some ideas too. We need to have this ready to show off and convince other people it's a good idea, by Comic Palooza. So we got all that ready to the point where I don't know if you know anything about proxying cards for a card game, but I basically had to print out all the cards, on paper, and cut them out individually, and then put them into card sleeves, with, like
oh
a playing
my
card
god.
behind it.
I can
And
only
so, and I had to do
imagine.
that for, the game consists of 100 and I think 170, 162 cards. I should know that off the top of my head. I had to do that for 4 different games. So that was, 2023, and when we showed it off in 2023, we were convinced after that we had something on our hands that we had to see through. And that's something about the creative process, maybe, if you've experienced or not, but a big part of it I find is that I've discovered is, when you have something good, it demands to come into existence. It's almost like an albatross on your neck, that says you have to do this. This is no longer a choice. So we really got to work on it, and got a graphic designer who actually works. Well, we already had the graphic designer lined up, and he's the one who works at the George R. Brown Convention Center. He's the guy who did all the graphic design for Comic Palooza. We
Oh
had
wow.
already hired him as a freelance, because he's a freelancer. That's just how graphic designers go.
Right.
And so he started working on it. And so our game, let me give you the high concept. Like I said, our game, it's supposed to have a mystical, like, I think of it as, I look at, say, Indiana Jones or Uncharted, and what I see is like almost modern day fantasy, like our fantasy set closer to the modern day in terms of technology.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's like was one of our approaches. So in this game, you follow leads, which hopefully you can see these.
Okay, beautiful.
The lights are not working with me. Uh, so you have 4 different leads. There's Vision, which is the blue one. Glyph is the red one. Myth is the purple one, and the yellow one is called Ruin.
Ruin. Okay.
And you use those. You can use them for a variety of things, but the primary thing you use them for is to solve adventures. And let me find an adventure here. Hopefully this is self-explanatory. Let's find one more. No? Heck, better. So adventures look like this. There's
Okay,
a
I
cost
see that.
and then a reward at the bottom. And they have a variety of setups and they have a
Okay.
variety of costs. They go 3, 4, or 5.
Okay, nice.
And your goal is to solve 5 of those. And each time you solve one of those, you get Action X cards. You start the game with one as well. And so these cards, it's kind of hard to see, but basically they look like, if you've ever seen Magic the Gathering, they look very similar. They have, an art piece up top and rules down below.
Right.
And
right.
they will either, and there's a variety of types, but for the most part, you can just think of it as this. They either help you get ahead or they put your rival behind.
Nice.
And learning if you should use them and when to use them and when they're good and when they're not is very crucial to making X Seekers of Fortune work. So yeah, that's the broad strokes of the game. I don't want to get too into the details, but basically, since that Comic Palooza, we've been refining the game, play testing. We started. We made. I don't know if you know about Tabletop Simulator, but we made a version of the game for Tabletop Simulator. So that way we can play with our community, and we do that specifically every Tuesday night.
Oh, nice. So
yeah,
tabletop,
we call it TNX.
Okay, so Tabletop Simulator. Actually, I haven't messed with it. I know I've heard other people talk about it, but that's basically like putting the game into like where people can play it online, right?
Yeah, well, I can even show it to you real fast if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, man, it's no problem.
Yeah. Okay, I can.
But that's pretty sweet, though. But I guess that's one of the great things that you're able to do at Comic Palooza, though, is use that as more testing to really see what's working well with people, what maybe does need some fine tuning and stuff. So, it's a great opportunity.
Yes, and so the second year of Comic Palooza, we pretty much had this version. This is like actually an old prototype. I had to send off like our manufacturer's prototype. This is like something that was made, in States with, it's kind of, this is a very cheaper version of the box.
Right.
But basically, so we had this cheap version in the second year.
I will say, man, that box looks great. It looks like if I saw that next to like the Pokemon ETBs and like things like that just stands out. It looks gorgeous, man.
Okay, cool. So here I should be sharing my window now. Do you see it?
All right, I see your window right here.
Okay, cool. So this is Tabletop Simulator.
Wow.
Basically I'll just create a single player game. And so if you wanted to try the game, if you have this, it's a pretty simple. You launch it, and if you're subscribed to the game, it'll be like one of your games in this workshop area down here, and all you have to do is click and load. And it'll take just a moment. Cool. And so this is our playmats that if you get the deluxe version of the game, you'll get 2 of these playmats, one for each player. We have the 3 decks here, so you can see those. So one thing that I didn't totally explain, but these cards, come on now. Oh wait, I have to choose a team. change color. And so here, I'll be red. But basically, these cards here, they actually stay on the table, so you always have access to see them. So, but yeah, it's like it's all here. It's really tool. Easy. Yeah, no, if you're a game designer, like even if all we did was talk about Tabletop Simulator, we could sing the praises of Tabletop Simulator. Oh, here's something we've been working on that's going to come out in the 2nd edition of the game.
Okay.
So we have characters. We have characters in our game.
Nice.
We have Kaya, Ana Lucia, Jericho Stone, and the Broker. And these cards, we'd finally cracked a problem we had been working on for a while, and that allowed us to put these character cards in the game. So basically, at the beginning of the game, you would choose one of these characters, and they would give you extra abilities. Basically, they would like sit outside the game and give you extra abilities, and so then you have a character that you kind of associate your gameplay with.
That's pretty cool, man.
Anyways, I could geek out about this. Like, we could talk about so many different aspects of game design if you were so interested, or just the inspirations of the game. But yeah, in general, I would love, I love talking about it if you can't tell.
Oh man, no.
Uh,
I mean,
so
you can tell this is definitely your passion project, and I mean that's always the great thing,
mhm,
right? But like one, this tool is amazing. I've never really gotten the chance to see this, but like now
mhm.
it
Oh yeah.
is it free to download or do you have to?
No, it is. It does cost to download, so it's like $20.
Oh, but that's not bad, especially if it's going to allow you to connect with other people and get to try games out and help play test. And who knows, one day you see the thing in stores and you're like, yo, I helped make that.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I'm breaking ground on our second game. I'm breaking ground on our second game while we're also developing the expansion for this game. So there's, but yeah, because like I would say, Danny and I would both tell you, we wouldn't have been able to make this game work if it wasn't for these online tools like Tabletop Simulator. Because when I first started working on the game, I live in Houston now. We'll see for how long, but I live in Houston now. Not to say I dislike Houston; it's that I am not finding work out here, the kind of work that I need to survive. That's a whole different story. But we started when I was living in Austin, and if we were trying to design this in paper, and trying to develop it just, using, arts and craft tools, we would have never been able to iterate enough. Something else we could talk about, the iterative process, and, kind of like, designing by redesigning, it's sort of like, the old adage, writing is rewriting. I mean, designing a game is design it, then, refine it, then play it again, then refine it, and then play it again.
Right, man. It's just so crazy to me. Like, it's fun because we did talk about like proxies and things, and I remember, yeah, back early 2000s, or as the kids say, the early aughts.
Yeah.
Like me and my friends, we all play Magic the Gathering. You're trying to test out new decks, but trying to like buy
Uh-huh.
these cards, you couldn't. So you'd print them
Yeah.
out, build your proxies, get card sleeves. Man, I think the amount of printer ink that I used growing up, I might as well just bought the cards myself, because that's like
Yeah.
how ridiculous it got.
And yeah, at a certain point, you get desperate enough, you just cut the paper and like take a Sharpie and just write card name, maybe a reminder of the ability and the mana cost.
Right, exactly. And like it's funny because like and then I think about like even younger when I was I mean I still am big into Pokemon, but you try to draw your own Pokemon cards because you couldn't get that base set Charizard, so you drew your own and then you
Mhm.
gave it
Yeah.
ridiculous moves. And so
Uh,
it's like growing up from there and now you're fine tuning it and now you're using online tools and getting talking with graphic designers, like everything that I used to dream of as a kid, like, oh man, one day this is gonna be me. And so like I mean, of course it always
oh,
comes from a love, right? A love of these
mhm.
card games growing up. But
Yeah.
like where do you find the drive? Because I can only imagine some of the speed bumps you hit along the way and some of the hurdles you had to come across. Like how do you push past that?
That's a very good question, and I wouldn't be lying if I were to say that there's been times that Danny and I have been fairly mutually exhausted. I think one thing that has kept us moving, though, is usually one person is in the driver's seat. One person has the energy in the tank to nudge the other person and keep them going. We could go through the, like ebbs and flows in the game, but I will say that after our Kickstarter, which was successful, but still wasn't quite so successful that we could, that things were going to be easy for us from here on out. Uh, we did have a bit of a few weeks of like kind of down energy. Now, granted, that also corresponded to a couple of things that happened. That's I So the Kickstarter was through June of last year. Then in July, I moved to Houston, July 1st. and I don't know if you remember what happened on July 8th, but I was welcomed to Houston really quickly by Hurricane Beryl.
Oh my gosh.
And
Okay, that's right.
not to be rude, I was living in a very shanty apartment because I was looking for the cheapest rent I could. And the roof of my apartment got ripped off while I was in the apartment. And the ceiling was still there. It wasn't like I was exposed to the rain completely, but everything was leaking and the roof fell on my car. So let's
Oh,
just say that there was recovery that had to happen. So I'm not surprised we had such a a downtime coming out of that. But it's still, I mean, I'm not going to lie and say like we've been able to just. And it's not like I wake up every day. I'm like, back to work at the card factory. We're just making the game. I mean, it's mutual motivation a lot of the times. And as I said, there comes a point where you realize that you have such a good idea that it would be a sin for you not to see it to fruition. And this is that we got this far enough to realize that whether it's successful or not, it deserves to be on a shelf.
right,
If,
man.
to at least try in the marketplace of ideas and games.
Right. But man, I gotta
Mhm.
say, like taking a look at the stuff and what you have online and what you're showing me here with the tabletop simulator, like it's
Mhm.
so fine tuned. Like the one, your artist's amazing. First off,
Thank you.
just the design of the cards looks great. You know, they pop really well. Very easy to read. Don't like some people and some cards. You know, sometimes get really jumbled with things, and that's really what kind of if I'm having to do too much studying, like I kind of
Hmm.
get turned off to things. But man, this
Yeah.
looks like it flows so easy. I really regret not being able to come up there during Comic Palooza. I ended up just being so busy with all my other things,
Hey,
but
I barely was able to go downstairs. I there was a guy, my next door neighbor was running a booth for the company he works for, which is like a graphic tee company here in town, like a studio. And I just barely made it down while they were packing up to say hi.
oh man,
So the
it
only times I really went down to the floor was just to, what is it called? Bark for people to come upstairs. Like I was just out there handing out like how we met. I
right
was like down there
exactly.
intentionally to be like, hey, come upstairs, check this out. Yee,
It's so funny because things like
Uh,
that happen like in such a whirlwind. Just like, oh
mhm.
hey, it's me, and oh yeah, hey, it's you. I heard about it. Okay, yeah, I'll be there. Okay, yeah, I'll be here, and then you kind of just part ways.
Yeah, yeah. And you just hope that somebody comes up. We actually had a cosplayer who I met like the first day, and she came up in her outfit. It's like she was wearing a different outfit, so it took me a moment to clock it. But just, I mean, she didn't have time to sit down and talk or play the game, but she at least stopped by, and I thought that made like a world of hope for us. I guess it was just made my day that she actually followed through. And
Yeah.
and I can imagine just how busy her day was to stop by. I'm sure she had to stop by like three different things while she was up there.
Oh
But
yeah.
I mean, I guess that's how you do it. But I mean, like you said, it was, or while when I met and I realized you were a podcaster, I was like, okay, this is definitely not like, I don't need to see you again here. We just need to make sure we follow through and talk to you, uh, you know, later.
Like yeah, podcasting
But
person, no. Online computer safe.
yeah, compute, please. Which and like I said, we had our own podcast, so we know some of the ins and outs. You can tell I actually have a legit microphone here.
Oh
I have a
yeah.
decent camera, though that's not going to be important, I don't think, for your podcast. But yeah, so and the same for my co-host has a what is the Elgato Wave 3 or whatever
Okay, nice,
microphone.
nice. Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're pretty set on equipment, so you don't have to worry too much about us like delivering crap
I,
uh quality to
I
you.
I will say I love when I get to talk to other podcasters because we all have the setup, right? We all have mics and software. We also kind of all have an ear to get our audio sounding pretty all right. So like it's
Hmm.
always a pleasure because it's less work I have to do
Yeah.
on the back end.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing. Yeah, you're just saying that it's like the one thing that I still don't have is I don't have dedicated earbuds to monitor, which is mostly because of the little orange fluff ball sleeping next to my legs right now. Because every
Oh,
time I got every time I got headphones with wires, he ate through them.
oh man, that's the worst. You know, funny.
Yeah.
So my cats, I had two of them. Well, I still have them, but they are now outdoor cats because of those same issues. They just eat everything, scratch everything, and it,
Mhm.
I don't know, man. I was losing my mind.
I will tell you, he's kind of a hybrid cat at this point, a little bit outdoor. If I had a secluded yard, I'd probably be okay with just him living out there.
That
I let him in, I let him in to eat, and like I prefer him to come in at night and just be out during the day. But yeah, I mean, I think he's happier for it.
Oh yeah, I noticed it's funny now. Now we're a cat podcast, but like I noticed
We, we
when my cats went outside, dude, their temperament totally changed, and so like it ended up being a really good thing. I think for everybody, this this separation is what I would call it to people.
okay, yeah, no, I think so. I think they're animals. I'm not saying that derogatorily. I'm saying they are literally animals that have like desires out, and like desire for territory. I mean,
Right.
he was so neurotic when he was just inside all the time when I tried to keep him from going outside. And he tried to escape often. And then once the first time that I just threw my hands up, he escaped, and I was like, okay, you just stay out here until you're ready to come back in. And then that next day, I was like, oh, he survived, and he's seemingly happy about what he did. He's not like, he seems to be strutting. So I guess I'm just gonna like let him just go out whenever he wants to go out. Now the problem is he likes to go out at night, but he doesn't. He wants to come back in around 5:30 a.m. And so he'll get outside the window to my bedroom and meow at me and wake me
Oh
up, and
hell
then
no.
disrupt my. Yeah, so that's why I'm trying to keep him in at night. I'm like, okay, go out during the day, combat, stay in at nights, sleep in the bed with me, and don't, but still, he still seems to think that he's my alarm clock at like at least 6:30 or 7 a.m. That's not
Right.
as bad.
Well, man, taking it back to
Uh,
Comic Palooza though, dude. I was looking through
yes, of course.
Your Instagram, man. It looked like you had quite a few people coming up to enjoy the game. Like,
Mhm.
is it nerve wracking watching these people play, or like, is there a sense of relief to it? Like, hey, it's here, I mean, are you like intently watching these people? Like, is that a smile? Is that a frown? Like,
I probably should be, but you're so swept up. Like if you're not doing, for me at least, maybe I'm a little crazy. Um, or I cope, maybe I avoid those thoughts by coping in different ways. But if I'm not doing one thing, I'm doing another. I rarely at these events stop and look and just, take it in. I probably should. But if I'm not answering people's questions about how to play, I'm teaching people how to play. And if I'm not teaching people how to play, I'm out on the floor trying to get people to come in and play for us to teach how to play. And if it's not that, then Danny's coming up and whispering some Machiavellian plan in my ear about like how we can take over the world. And I'm conferring with him and playing a good Iago to his Jafar. But uh, ultimately, I would say that it's ironically the last thing I'm thinking about is are people enjoying themselves, because I just have to go on autopilot that they are, if they are there to play the game. That I just have to trust that either they enjoy themselves or they don't, but that's going to be a self-selection thing. Um, I wish I just could sit back and be like, like the amount of I made this, if that makes sense, or I helped make this, I should say. Danny's such a big part of it too, creative duos. That's something I want to put us out there as. I think he's shy about it because I'm like showing him pictures of Steely Dan and like Simon and Garfunkel and being like, we got to emulate these guys. Um, anyways, but yeah, I would say that I, I I I just have to trust that the game, it has an audience that just hasn't discovered it yet, and all we're doing is finding the people who could be part of that audience. But We did run a tournament, the first ever physical tournament of the game, on Sunday. We built it up to Sunday, and so we ran it, and yeah, it was a big first. And we even had our resident like tabletop, like our basically one of our longtime collaborators is, I'm not sure collaborator is the right term, super fans, I guess, maybe somebody who's like shows up almost every Tuesday for Tuesday Night X was there because he's local, and he participated in the tournament, and he kind of was sort of like the boss, if you will, the boss, the boss monster of the tournament. He was the boogeyman we were hyping up the entire weekend.
Oh my god, that's funny though, man. It sounds like that was such a
Mhm.
great time, dude. I'm glad. I'm happy for y'all.
Thank you, thank you.
So what's
I'm just happy to talk to somebody about it and be like, oh yeah, this is big. Like I said, your head could be so far in the weeds that you can't like see the flower patch around you.
right? Exactly, man. But so what's next, man? Like, what do you guys have in the woodworks? Are you gonna do another Kickstarter? Are you gonna be somewhere else where you're showcasing the game in public? What's going on?
Oh, all of the above, Brian. Let's start with that. Our next major event that we're planning on going to, and it's probably going to be the first event that we have the game for sale at, assuming everything goes according to plan. With the world in the shape it is, we have to be holding our breath that the game arrives in time. But we should be at Board Game Geek Convention, or BGG Con, this November. I want to say it is in Dallas, Texas, and we our game will also be around the world. We are working with a partner that goes to the major conventions. They represent a few games, and so we don't have to show up to every convention. They'll be there and they'll have the game to show. So you could probably, if you are at the say PAX Unplugged or Essex, if there's any German listeners out there, they would be able to probably stop by and find a booth where the game is. In fact, I think it's going to be featured in Gen Con this weekend by those folks.
Nice.
And then as for Kickstart, also Comic Palooza will be our convention every year from here on out. I think we'll every year we're going to try to grow our presence at Comic Palooza to the point where we're conspiring with some people behind the scenes to try to make the game portion of Comic Palooza get more spotlight and more heat. And we're going to try to be like the centerpiece, like, or at least the flagship featured game of Comic Palooza for the board game area, and represent the entire board gaming side of things. But so it's like, so, but like, for the first year we had one table. The second year we had three tables. Last year, or this past year, we had like eight tables altogether. We're just growing and growing. And then when it comes to Kickstarters, we have a couple projects down the line that we know we're going to kickstart, so I think I can mention them in general. But we have a graphic novel that we're writing. Basically, we're writing, what I like to say is we're writing the outline, a detailed outline to the story of X Seekers of Fortune, that the story that involves Jericho, Akaya, Ana Lucia, and the Broker, and Oko the Monkey, who we don't have a card for yet, but he's the next up to make. We are working on a multi-part comic story, but we're writing it in such a way that it could be adapted to comic. We hope it could be adapted to animated series or feature film. We're just trying to make it to where we have all the details and world building and in there, and that way, if say we need to turn it into a screenplay or spin it off into a screenplay, it would be mostly just a matter of reformatting, or it needs to be a comic book script, whatever. So our goal is to get that ready to go, and then take it to Kickstarter to get it the money to get an artist on it. So like we'll have the words done, but then the money to pay the artist and print.
Right.
And then we will also go to Kickstarter with at least our first expansion of X Seekers of Fortune. So this X Seekers of Fortune, the base set here, tells half of a story. That would be what the graphic novel would do. It would tell half the story of this saga that is going to be completed by the second expansion. Um, I'll keep mum on the names, but the idea is like, this, like I said, this set gets you up to the crucial middle point cliffhanger, and then the next set will take you through the climax, the epic climax. And so that set will be basically, it's going to be like this again, this box again with all the leads and adventures, but with a completely different action X deck and a couple of new card types that we're developing also. And when that, we'll hopefully, what we'll be doing is taking the proceeds from selling the first set and putting those into getting the art and everything ready. And so that way, when we're coming to Kickstarter for the second set, we are going to be able to say it's done. We know what we're doing on the printing. We've already done this once. All this is a pre-order, basically. The more people who order, the more product we can make, the more money that we'll be able to get to make even the next one after that. So we'll be going to Kickstarter with a lot more confidence in how to do it. Hopefully, a bigger fan base that is ready to come up and support. Like, we'll have had the base game out in the wild for like at least a year, hopefully about a year or so before we do that. So yeah, those are the big plans that I can be really public about. But basically, the X Seekers of Fortune brand is going to, from our perspective, become sort of an anthology series. So after we finish the story that features those main characters, Jericho, Akaya, Ana Lucia, and the Broker, we'll come out with a new set in a different time and space, possibly, that tells somebody else's story. But
Nice.
it's still going to hold true to that adventure, treasure, daring. And so it's going to be a different setting, but a setting that you'll associate with those things. This is our desert adventure. You'll see what the next one is when we're ready to roll that out. And we have at least 4 or 5 of those in our back pocket.
Heck yeah, man. Sounds great, dude. Well, I don't want to take too much
Yeah.
more of your time, man. I appreciate you coming on here, Joel, talking about it. The product's great. Your energy's great. I'm so excited for what the future holds for Seekers of Fortune. So, man, this is awesome.
Don't forget the X.
Don't forget the X.
Seekers of
Oh,
Fortune.
man.
Yeah, we get gruff about that because, like, around the same time we decided to name the game X Seekers of Fortune, a certain platform got named X shortly after, and then we were told that, yeah, depending on how, no matter how you feel about that, you feel about that. So we and you also will always associate the letter with a certain entrepreneur, billionaire, flim flam man.